class. Welcome to History of Christianity here at Mid-America Baptist Theological Seminary and the College of Mid-America. My name is Dr. Zachary Sandiford, and I'll be your instructor for this class this semester. The purpose of this video is to, first off, welcome you to the class, and also to basically inform you of what we need to do this semester for History of Christianity. I remember when I went to college for my undergraduate, the professors would, I went to the State University of New York, and the professors would come in and have one of their aides, usually because there was pretty large classes, hand out the syllabus, and the professor was already starting to teach on the very first day in the front of the class. And we really didn't even know what was expected of us, or when exams were, or what the paper requirements were. It was just basically in the syllabus, and there you go, have at it. Well, I didn't care for that. I really liked it when some professors would kind of go through the syllabus with us to explain things out. And that's what I want to do here in this video for our very first time together. And then we'll get into the first lecture next time. So we are going to go through basically a screen recording of the syllabus. So if you want to print the syllabus out or have it open on a split screen or something, and you can follow along as I talk through what the requirements are. Okay, class, we're going to go over the syllabus now for History of Christianity, CH6001 for the graduate students, CH3001 for the undergraduate. As I've said, the syllabus is for both classes. It's just different requirements for whatever degree program you're in. Fall 2022, and you see the dates for the semester, August 17th to December 7th of 22. Down here you see my contact information, but definitely the email is going to be the main way that we are going to communicate through email. But Dr. Zachary Sandiford, there's the school's address. My cell number, if you have to give me shoot me a text or something, that's fine too. Just identify who you are in the text. But main way is going to be through that email right there. Residential students, this is their schedules, but since you guys are online, you have to log in a minimum of 3 times per week in Moodle. That's the requirement for the school for proper attendance. And I know you have different schedules and hectic schedules and all of that. Maybe some people can only do their schooling on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever. That's fine. As long as you log in 3 times a week, it's pretty flexible. This is the course description. History of Christianity is a 3-semester-hour survey of the Christian faith and church from the intertestamental period to the present. The course focuses on the background of early Christianity, the beginning methods by which Jesus and his disciples founded the faith, and the consequent spread of his followers throughout the world. The course will examine key historical figures and events as it tracks the Christianity's progression from the time of Christ until today. So that's what we're going to do this semester, and we'll be looking at a lot of information as we go through this course. Here's the course objectives. You can read through that on your own on the syllabus later. Again, as I said here under instructor availability, communicate with me through email. I do check my email all the time, so I'm pretty good at getting back to you quickly. Disclaimer that I have the right to change this syllabus in case there is an issue, such as maybe we need to change a lesson to a different day or something. Usually that's at a very minimum, if at all. Inclement weather, that's not really applying to you since you're residential students. Okay, so we have the textbooks here, and we have a couple textbooks. First off, as you see here, all students, that's bachelor's and master's, must have Baker, Robert Baker and John Landers, A Summary of Christian History, 3rd edition, 2005. And then the second textbook that everyone must have is Edwin Gustad and Lee Schmidt's The Religious History of America, and I go by the 2002 version. So that's the 2 textbooks that you're going to need. The first one, everyone will have to read that. The second one, the bachelor students will have selected readings. The master students will have to read the entire thing. And the master students will also have to do a book review on Gustad's Religious History of America. Plus, the master students only will need Henry Bentonson's Documents of the Christian Church. And this is the actual documents of a certain edict or a confession or some sort of letter or writing, something like that, but it's the actual document and what it says. So those are the 3 books. Bachelors, you need the first 2, Baker and Gustad, and then masters, you need Baker, Gustad, and Bedinson. Okay, so required reading. This is for bachelor students here, 500 pages, and then master students, 1,000 pages. And I have to warn you, master students, that the second half of your semester is going to be very heavy in reading, okay? So plan ahead, make a reading schedule, make sure you stick to your reading schedule. The second half is heavy reading. Now, the way that I do your reading grade is you will report that to me at the very end of the semester, and instead of the final exam, that's for the residential students, but what you'll do is you'll report your reading to me just by sending me an email that says, Dr. Sandiford, I read 90% of this semester's reading, and I will give you a 90 for your reading grade. If you read 100%, I'll give you a 100. If you read 50%, I'll give you a 50. And thank you for your honesty. But we are a Christian institution. I take it that everyone is going to try to do the reading and stick to the schedule and be honest when they report how much they read. Okay, so it's basically the honor system. Whatever you tell me that you read, that percentage, that will be your reading grade. All right, so that's the reading. Next, we have the research paper. The student will write a research paper on an approved topic from one of the periods of church history, which these periods are early, patristic, medieval, Reformation, and modern. A thesis statement, paper outline, and tentative sources will be submitted on the dates below. Okay, so here's the requirement. Bachelor students, you will need a 10-page paper. Pages 1 through 10 is text, full text, okay? So don't just have one sentence on page 10. That's not a complete page. So 1 through 10, the 10th page must be complete, and then you have your bibliography after that, or your works cited page. Okay, so bachelor students, 10-page paper with a works cited page. Master student is a 15-page paper. Again, 1 through 15 is paper is text, and the 15th page is complete, plus your bibliography. And you must have the title page, table of contents, etc., per Mid-America's Turabian guidelines. Master students, you'll do Turabian, and bachelor students, you will be doing MLA. And make sure your papers are formatted that way. Your sources, bachelor students must have a minimum of 10 sources. 5 of those sources must be actual print books. So go to the library or whatever you need to do, but print books. Electronic and web sources can comprise the rest of those 10, so the other 5 can be electronic or web sources, websites, whatever, and they must be credible websites, okay? So no Wikipedia, I know we all use it, but no Wikipedia, no blogs, no personal websites, don't use anything like alternatehistory.com or something. You want to have legitimate websites. If it ends in .edu, or .org. Usually those are pretty credible when it comes to history websites. Okay, so just make sure your sources are credible. And then master students, you'll have a minimum of 15 sources. 8 of those sources must be print books. And then the master student must also have a minimum of 3 journal articles in those 15 sources. So 8 are books, 3 are journals, so that's 11. And then the remainder may be electronic or web-based sources. Again, they must be credible sources. Citation of the paper. Okay, you must cite your paper according to your degree program, which, like I said, bachelor's is MLA and master's is Turabian. And you must basically show where your information came from in your papers. I want to see that interaction of sources. So if it's like 3 pages of text in your paper and there's nothing cited, I don't know where any of that information came from. You're not telling me how you interacted with your sources. So you definitely need to cite your direct quotes. You definitely need to cite paragraphs to show me where you got that information. And of course, the big warning, do not plagiarize. A plagiarized paper is academic dishonesty, and you'll fail the course for lying with one of the main areas for the grading. Citations are as follows. Bachelor students, you'll, again, like I said, MLA, and I would suggest that you reference MLA Handbook, 9th edition. And then master students, Turabian, see the Turabian Turabian book, 9th edition also. Writing requirements for the research paper. You will write this research paper in Times New Roman font and make sure it's size 12. The same font must be used throughout the paper. Be careful if you copy a direct quote from a website and you put it in quotes and you cite it. That's fine to do as long as you cite it where you came from. Sometimes the formatting from the website comes with it, and next thing you know, you have the wrong formatting within your paper. Ensure the page numbers font is the same as the paper, because when you insert page numbers, it will automatically insert them for you, but it will not be Times New Roman font. Make sure you go up there and change those page numbers to the proper font. Do not insert pictures or maps. One time a student just arbitrarily put a map in the middle of their paper, and again, they could just make the map however size they wanted, and basically they made the map about 3/4 the size of one page, and that basically that's a page they didn't even really need to type. We've got to do the work. So no maps, no pictures. We don't need any of that. The paper will be submitted in Word format, not PDF. You will send me a Word document to my email when the paper is due. And please do not have a PDF. It needs to be Word. And the reason is because your papers will be run through Grammarly. You must run it through Grammarly before you submit it to me. And when you submit it to me, it's going to be all nice and all the corrections made since you ran it through Grammarly. So that way I take the paper and then I run it through Grammarly, and all I do is look at your score that Grammarly gives you. When you submit a paper to Grammarly, they calculate it, and up in the corner of the screen it gives you a score like a 95 or a 97. And if you have that kind of a score, I can see you ran it through Grammarly. But if I run it through Grammarly after you submit it to me and you have a score of like 63, that's probably not been run through Grammarly, or if you did, you didn't make the corrections that Grammarly suggested. And so what I will do is I will then take the paper, send it back to you, and for it to be corrected, and if the paper is late, then the late penalty will apply. The dates for the research paper. The topic approval due date is September 13th of 22, and so since you're online students, you will email me your topic, and it can be kind of broad. It doesn't have to be very, very detailed or narrow right now. Maybe you want to write on Martin Luther. I mean, you could write a lot on Martin Luther, but Martin or the English Reformation, or the Second Great Awakening, or the Catholic Church in the medieval times. Those are really broad topics. So you would definitely need to narrow it down when it's time to develop your thesis. But when you submit your topic to me, it can be kind of broad, just maybe something you're interested in, and then have it to me by September 13th. The thesis outline and your tentative sources are due October 13th of 22. Now your thesis is going to be more narrow, and this is going to be a thesis statement. It's not a question. Sometimes students ask a question in their first paragraph and then spend the rest of their paper answering this question. That's not a thesis statement. A thesis statement is a very focused sentence of what you are going to write about. So you would have a very focused statement, such as Ulrich Zwingli was instrumental in fighting Anabaptist beliefs, and then you would create an outline, and basically your ABCD would be let's say 4 reasons why Ulrich Zwingli was instrumental in combating Anabaptist beliefs, or something to that nature. And then you would have your sources also. You'll email this to me, and it'll be emailed to me by October 13th of 22. And this is, this is tentative. The sources are tentative. Try to have your 10 or your 15 sources to me. But if you have 12, that's fine. What I don't want to see is no sources or like 3 sources. By October 13th, you should start collecting all your stuff and putting it all together. And then your research paper is due about a month later, November 11th, at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you will email the paper to me in Word, and this paper is due on a Friday. Okay, so it's not due at the end of the week, like on a Sunday or something. This paper is due on a Friday, November 18th. Next, we have a book review for the Master students only. Master students, CH6001. You are at a 5-page book review on the Religious History of America textbook by Gustad. And you'll have to read that whole thing just for your reading requirement. So you'll have 1 page of introduction and about the authors, talk about them, their education, maybe where they work, if they teach at a seminary or a university, and maybe some other books they've written or whatever. Then you'll do a 2-page summary of the content of the book. So that's kind of like the book report portion where you'll talk about what's in the book. And then you'll have a 2-page strengths and weaknesses of the book. So tell me what you think is good about the book, what you think could be improved, and then your opinion of the book. So that's pretty much how you kind of end the book review. Is just give me your opinion. If it was if you really enjoyed the book and why. If it was like this is the biggest waste of time, tell me why. But I think it's a pretty good book. The book review must have a title page. But you don't need a table of contents, okay? So it'll still be Turabian format with a title page, etc., set up how the Turabian title page is, but you don't need a table of contents for anything there. And then the book review due date is December 6th, 22 at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, okay? So that's the very, very end of the semester. You'll turn it in, and I'll grade it pretty quickly and get those back to you towards the end, or right after the semester ends, pretty much. Okay, late work. Like I said earlier, if you turn in a paper that wasn't run through Grammarly, it'll be returned to you, and if it's late, you get a deduction. Well, this is the deduction. Any late work, which is basically the paper or the book review, is going to be a 5-point deduction per day, which includes weekends. So that's the beauty about emails, that when you email something, it gets time stamped with a date and time. So if it's past that due date, and it's like, well, I can work on it Saturday and turn it in on Sunday, and I'll still be good because Monday is the beginning of the week. No, you got to have it in because those weekends, they count. So if you turn it in Sunday, that's 2 days late. So that'd be 10 points off. So just be aware of that. Don't really stay up on your reading, stay up on your calendar, stay up on your work, and you'll be okay. You're going to have 4 exams in this course. They're non-cumulative, so they're just basically section exams. And the exam dates are September 8th of 22, then September 29th, November 3rd, and then December 7th is your final. And again, it says at 10:30 a.m. That's for my residential students. You'll have a block of time. It's because the semester ends on a certain day. We try to stick to that end date. But Moodle will have your instructions for each exam. Also, I give a study guide for every single exam, so you have an idea of what to study, because we do cover a lot of information in history of Christianity. All right, just moving on. We have bachelor's grading on the left and master's on the right. The bachelor's grading, you have 4 exams at 15% each for 60% of your grade. Your research paper is 30%, and then your reading grade is 10% for a total of 100%. And then you see CH3001 bachelor students, this is your grading scale. Over here is the master's, 6001. You have 4 exams, 3 are at 10%, and the final is 15% for a total of 45%. Then research paper is 30, your book review is 15%, and then your reading grade is 10% for a total of 100%. And this is your grading scale over here on this side. Class attendance, Witness 1.7 requirement, which is CH6001 students. In order to receive full credit for this and all seminary classes, students must complete and report all Witness 1.7 requirements. That is according to how the seminary requires you to put those reports forward. I don't have you put those reports in Moodle or anything like that. So just make sure you're following your Witness 1.7 requirements. Class conduct, this is more for in class, but on Moodle, this is probably the biggest one right here. It's very important that you exhibit a Christ-like attitude at all times. Really, most of the interaction is going to be in a forum, so if you comment on someone's post in the forum, just make sure that it's respectful and all of that. All right, so you see the class schedule here. We'll go down through it briefly. Our first section is the early church and the patristics. And you see the first week. We have Founders Days, which you have to watch Founders Days as a requirement for all students. And then the 17th is the first day of class, which is introduction and the syllabus. And then session 1 is the early church. Now, this is the first week. You can do your work, like I said, you could do it on Friday or Saturday, whatever. It's up to you. That's your schedule. But this is for residential students, so this is what will be covered during the first week. And right now, there's the syllabus. You're listening to that or watching this video right now, the syllabus. Now, right here, I'm going to underline it in red. It says Session 1. I need to make a very important note for you to remember when you're watching the videos. Okay, what I did was I restructured the class to a session format, and I needed to basically renumber the lessons, because Founders Days at one time when I taught this class, that was session 1, and then introduction and syllabus, that was session 2, and then we had session 3 was the early church. Okay, well, what I did was I restructured this for ease on YouTube and just basically ease of tracking and also lining up with the syllabus. The whole reason I'm saying this is that when you go onto YouTube and through Moodle, you'll click on the link and it's going to take you to my YouTube channel, and you'll watch the video like you're watching this one right now. When you click on session 1 in Moodle, the video you will start playing. You'll play the video. Well, on the title screen, it kind of comes across a screen as I start talking. It'll say History of Christianity Session 3 for the early church. Okay. The reason I'm saying this is I don't want you to get confused. Okay, it's session 1. It doesn't matter what it says on that title screen. I'm not going by the title screen on the video. I'm going by the syllabus and our schedule now. So it'll say session 1 in Moodle. It'll actually say session 1 for the title of the video in YouTube. But on the title, as it scrolls across the screen as you're playing it, it'll say session 3. Okay, so don't pay any attention to those sessions on the video as it's playing, because that's not the right session. It's not going to matter really. The correct video is going to be there, and it'll line up with this syllabus. So that's just a note for you, so you understand, so no one's confused about that. Okay, so then week 2, we have the apostolic period, early patristics and persecution, and the schools and teachers, and then we get to our first reading assignment over here. Everyone's going to read Baker 1 through 56, and the masters will read Benson 1 through 29. Okay, so that's how the reading schedule is kind of set up. Sessions 5 through 7, we have Constantine and Monasticism, Donatism, Arianism, and the Council of Nicaea, the Cappadocians and Ambrose, more reading. Session 8 and 9 is Chrysostom and Jerome, and then Augustine of Hippo. Okay, there's no reading this week. Read ahead if you would like. I would suggest that. But we have exam 1 on September 8th. Like I said, because you're online students, you will get with your proctor, and you will take the exam with them through your proctor. And I'll also have a study guide given out to you on Moodle, so you'll be able to be prepared for the exam. So no worries. Next section is medieval Christianity. We have session 10, the papacy, and again, lining up with the earlier date, research paper topic due. And then we have Eastern Christianity, and then we have Charlemagne and decay, and we have Baker. Week 6 is against Islam and the Crusades, the Golden Age and Scholasticism, collapse, and the Great Schism. Okay, so there's the sessions, these are the titles, and then the reading assignment over here. Then we have pre-Reformation and humanism, and then we have colonial Christianity and reading, and then exam number 2. Just a note about colonial Christianity, that does not mean like the 13 colonies of the United States or that would become the United States. This colonial Christianity is early explorers and how like Spain went and explored and then brought Christianity to indigenous peoples in early exploration. Week 8 is fall break. Read ahead if you would like. Then we get to our next section, the Reformation, Puritanism, and Pietism. and we have about 6 lessons here on the Reformation. We have Martin Luther, session 18. Session 19 is Zwingli. Session 20 is Calvin. Your reading over here, research paper, thesis, outline, and tentative sources are due. Okay, so make sure you get those in. And then we'll continue the Reformation the next week. Session 21, 22, and 23 is the Radical Reformation. So that's where we deal with the Anabaptists, the English Reformation, and then the Counter-Reformation. And we have our reading over here. Okay, so now as you see here on the reading, all will continue to read Baker. And then the master students, you'll pick up Gustad 1 through 48, and then continue master students with Bentonson for that reading. So you're starting to see it's going to be heavier reading. Week 11, 30 Years' War, Puritanism and Reformed Orthodoxy, and then Rationalism. Again, you see everyone's got to read Baker. And then bachelors, you'll read Gustad 49 to 73. Masters, you'll read Gustad 49 to 118. So pay attention to the reading over here. Week 12, Spiritualism and Pietism, and then the First Great Awakening, and then exam number 3. And there's your schedule for reading. Modern Christianity, session 29 is the Second Great Awakening. Session 30, Manifest Destiny to World War I. And then session 31 is New Religions. That began to pop up, especially in the United States. So here's your reading over here. Week 14, session 32 is Western European Christianity and Charles Spurgeon. Session 33, Eastern Christianity. 34 is the Missions Movement, 19th and 20th century missions. And then November 18th, your research paper is due by 11:59 p.m. Again, I said that's a Friday. Your reading schedule over here. Week 15, Thanksgiving break. That's a good time to catch up on reading. You already got your paper in. Maybe master students, if you want to get a jump on that book review, if you've read the book or you're almost done, maybe you can start it. The book review, you can catch up there. Week 16 is Protestantism in the United States for session 35. Session 36 is SBC Deterioration and the Conservative Resurgence. Here's the final reading. On December 1st, I will post a video with final exam review of a study guide where I kind of go through it with you. And then the last week, week 17, that's finals week. December 6th, master students book review is due by 11:59 p.m. And then your final exam is 10:30 a.m. Now, that's for residential students. But for online students, you will have instructions in Moodle of when the exam opens up and when it closes, etc. As I've been going through this and talking about the exams, I just want to make sure everyone understands that you will have an exam proctor. You need to get a proctor. They have to fill out the proctor form that's in Moodle. It's going to have their printed name, their signature, and their email address. Please have that on the form, and then you'll scan it and email it to me, or they can, take a picture of it and send it, or whatever. But as long as I get that proctor form, and they have to be qualified, the qualifications are in Moodle. It says who cannot do it, and they're the ones that I will send the password to, so they can get you into the exam when it's exam time. Okay, so make sure you get follow the instructions in Moodle. Make sure you get your proctor to me by week 2. Selected bibliography in case you need some assistance in finding some books for maybe a research paper. We got all kinds of books here. Okay, you can just kind of go through this if you want and look at that. There's some books on maps, so you can kind of get an idea of where we are in the world when we talk about some of these things. There's some reference books. From 16th century to present, we have more books. Some more maps. And there you go. This is the rubric for research papers. So this is what I use to grade your paper. So presentation of ideas, that's where you have a good thesis. It's stated well. You are presenting your ideas well. The argument you're making is well developed. As I go through the paper and read it, I can really understand how you're bolstering your thesis statement with these reasonings that you have from your research. We have organization and flow. Okay, so that's going to be the content of your paper. You use logical structure. You are sophisticated in how you transition your sentences and you develop your ideas. It just flows well. It's not very choppy, anything like that. Your thoughts are it's a progression of thought. Then we have style and content. So you use proper words. You don't use slang. You don't use other euphemisms. You don't use contractions. Those kind of things. And then MLA use, and this is also be Turabian for the master students. And research and support. So, you're citing things properly. The structure for your citations are proper. Your works cited page or your bibliography, that is structured properly. For the master students, you have a good formatted title page and index, table of contents. So that's like for MLA and Turabian. And then down here is mechanics. That would be the spelling errors or missing punctuation or run-on sentences where there's no punctuation between them, or whatever it may be. That's going to be mechanics. That's going to be more of the writing side of it, of the grammatical errors is mechanics. And then I average that and give you the grade. This is a reading signature page. Again, you're going to email me your percentage at the end of the semester, so you really don't need to worry about that page at all. And then finally is the syllabus signature page. The residential students have to write this and sign it and then give it to me. What I need you to do is, after you've listened to this video or watched this video and you're good to go on this syllabus, I need you to send me an email that says, Dr. Sandiford, I have read and received the syllabus. Thank you very much, or whatever, and your name. Just so I can print that out and put it in your file that you received the syllabus, so everyone's all informed of what is required of them for the class, for the requirements of the class. Okay, so that is it for the syllabus. I'll see you in a second. What I need you to do now is I need you to send me an email. Just click on that link there in Moodle and shoot me an email saying that you received the syllabus and you understand it. If you have any questions, please email me so I can answer the question for you. But that's it for the syllabus. Next time, we're going to get into our first teaching session, session number 1, which is the early church. I'll see you then. Take care.